Hi, I'm Madeline King.
And I'm Annalise Jones. Welcome to Stratazine, your source for authentic, curated content for digital and social media professionals.
On today's episode, we are going to talk about Gen Z and email marketing.
And later on in our tips and tools segment, we'll take a look on what really makes Gen Z open email marketing.
First, to our question of the day. How many emails does the average person get a day? Annalise, you asked students how many emails they have unopened on their phone.
Yes, and we got a wide variety of answers. It was a lot of fun. Let's see what they had to say. I'm Annalise with Stratazine, and today we are asking students how many unopened emails they currently have in their inbox. Let's see what they have to say. Can you tell us how many unopened emails you currently have?
Like 4,000.
Is it?
2,183.
Probably over 10,000.
You only have
It says 8 new. Okay, yeah.
We only have 8. He lied to us. I have 5. That's not bad.
Yeah, 20 in school. I'm gonna put that one.
See, that's not bad. Not bad at all.
596.
Oh, this is 92, but I think Outlook filters them out.
0. Oh, 2.
2. Wow. Good job.
Thank you. 50.
Not bad.
So for Outlook, I have 323, and for Gmail, I have 5,491.
I think you're our winner for the most unopened emails today.
Oh my gosh, don't email me.
And stay tuned to the rest of the episode because we will have the answer to the question of the day later on in our show.
Email marketing is not the same as it was 10 years ago.
No, it's
So how
not.
do we get Gen Z to open their marketing emails?
You know, I think I'm part of Gen Z and I actually have no idea. But thankfully, Emmy Hilbig will explain Gen Z marketing and how to make it effective.
Would you like to use email marketing to reach the audience of Gen Z for your product? I'm Emmy, and I'm here to tell you guys about email marketing and how it can be effective and useful for the Gen Z audience. First, let's define what email marketing really is. According to an article by MailChimp, email marketing is a powerful marketing channel, a form of direct marketing as well as digital marketing that uses email to promote your business's products or services. It can help make your customers aware of your latest items or offers by integrating it into your marketing automation efforts. Now that we know what email marketing is, the question is, how do we get Gen Z to open your email? Gen Z is the population from ages 12 to 27. So right now we're working with teenagers and young adults. And to ensure that you capture their attention, focus on creating concise and visually appealing content that has a clear message. Ensure that it is easy to read and to follow along with. Once you have people start clicking on your advertisement, start narrowing down who your emails are being sent to. Focus on those that are interacting with your page and what to promote for those individuals. Different types of email marketing that you can use for your company is newsletters, transactional emails, promotional emails, as well as behavioral emails. Which one do you think is most effective? Email marketing has been proven to be cost effective and generate profit. There are so many benefits to email marketing. It is cost effective, it has direct access, it has measurable results, and a good segmentation, meaning that emails can be tailored for a specific audience, groups, or for a better relevance. So what do you think? Is email marketing effective and productive? Continue to try the new strategies that we have taught today to promote your product, to sell it to a larger audience for the Gen Z.
Well, Emmy did a great job at teaching us about Gen Z email marketing. I think we should chat with an expert on the best way to have effective email marketing campaigns.
Yeah, recently I spoke with Perry Rockwood.
Our guest on Stratazine today is Perry Rockwood. Thanks for joining us today. Perry is the Public Affairs Communication Manager in University Relations here at BYU, Idaho. He oversees all official university email messaging and is an expert at marketing to Gen Z. Our topic today is how to get Gen Z to open their emails. So we'll just jump into the first question. How do you get anyone to open their email?
Well, if I knew that, I would be rich. I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. First of all, thank you, Maddie, for having me. Super nice to talk to you. And that's a great question. That's what we ask ourselves every time we send something out. And honestly, there's a couple of things that we've noticed. Number one, you have to have a catchy subject line. So if you think about Gen Z, attention spans are very small. And if it doesn't catch interest right away, we're so used to just like hitting delete on things that don't, on emails that don't seem engaging. So I would say the number one thing before anything else is you have to have a short and catchy subject line, because it could be catchy, but if it's super long, they only see half of it, and this is like dot dot dot, and they're like, that's gonna be way too long, I don't want to read this. So it's got to be very short and very like descriptive and use attention grabbing words.
That's awesome. I definitely notice I open emails when they're interesting. Our second question is email marketing still relevant to Gen Z?
Yes, which might be a little surprising to some people, just because when you think of Gen Z and younger generation, you think of social media strictly, but email is definitely still has its place among Gen Z. The biggest thing is it needs to be very personalized and tailored to each customer or individual who's receiving it. Gen Z people want to feel like you actually know them and their habits, because we're used to that because of social media. Like, you go on social media, your algorithm's so personal that if you get an email that's just generic, you're not going to want to do that. So if you can like use their name in it, or like some of their attitudes or behaviors, and use past shopping experience in that subject line, then they're way more likely to respond in a way that is good for you and your company.
That leads into the next question of how email plays a role in Gen Z's day-to-day compared to other communication channels like social media.
Yeah. So let me turn this back to you for a second, if that's okay. What's the difference between how you use email? Think about like going to school here. Like, how do you use email, like compared to how you use social media?
I guess emails where I'm going for more official information,
Yeah.
updates, like knowing what I need to do, for like emergencies almost, and then social media is usually just for less important information.
Exactly. You're not trying to find a social interaction through email, right? And so being an email marketer, you need to make sure that you know your lane and you stay in it. You don't like try to swerve into another lane. And so that would be my biggest thing I say is understand you have to know your audience. And with Gen Z, you just told us right now, when you're looking at email, you're expecting something more professional, something more targeted to you taking an action to actually do something. So, and not just like a back and forth social conversation. So that would be my main thing, is that's where email comes into play, is those more, we're having this sale, we want you to buy this item, we're going to show you this item. And it's not a back and forth, it's you're taking this action and you're purchasing something.
Yeah, that makes sense. So how can businesses leverage AI to improve email engagement and creation for Gen Z?
I feel like the biggest thing that I've seen with here at BYU Idaho, but also with a bunch of my friends who own their own small businesses, is that the thing AI has helped with the most is follow-ups. Because think about how important it is, especially with Gen Z, like with how am I part of Gen Z?
You're just outside.
I'm just outside of Gen Z. I like to identify as Gen Z. I don't want to be a millennial. But one thing about Gen Z people is, again, the attention span, right? And a lot of times there's so much information that you're getting on a daily basis that it causes us to forget very easily. So you have to have follow-ups and have like multiple touch points with the consumer. So that's something that's so important that AI can really help with, is just planning out all those follow-ups and make those completely automated. And that's so nice, where before I would be taking 4 to 6 hours to write all of these follow-ups after 3 days and after 6 days and after 8 days. Now it's a 10-second prompt into ChatGPT or into your AI software, and you have follow-ups going out to everyone.
How do you think that the email marketing landscape is going to change when Gen Z starts working in that field?
So I always talk to my students about this, and it's so funny. So at BYU Idaho, we use email a lot. It's like the official communication, and especially with all of my colleagues, like my boss and all my coworkers. And there's a certain like email lingo. It's like super professional, and you use words that you would never use in an actual conversation. Like, well, we're just gonna pivot on this subject and we'll come back later. Like, you just say things that you would never say. And so my hope is that when you guys get into these positions, that you just start using normal language that people identify with, that it's not confusing. Like, why are you talking like you're being held at gunpoint by your email? Like, just bringing personality into email. At some point, that's going to have to happen. And there's already some companies, like apparel companies, that are starting to do that more and more, that are trying to appeal to a younger audience. But I think that's just going to be even more, as like starting to use kind of social media language inside of email now.
So in your job to get students to open more professional emails, what kind of things have you used to get them to open it, even though it's from the school? It's not something like a store they like.
Yeah. So one example is every week we send out 2 specific emails that go out each week. The first one is on Monday. It's called the advisories. Open your advisory email. It's all the stuff that you need to know about what's going on that week. And then Thursdays, we send out the feed email. And that is about events happening and promotions, like sales on campus. Biggest thing with that is we've decided we used to just have one version of each, and it would go to employees and students. But now we've seen that the way I'm going to communicate with an employee should be different than the way I can communicate with a student. So now we have a student version and an employee version. And that's something that's really helped, is our wording. Even though we have pretty much the same messages in each, the wording is completely different. And so it's really just targeting to your audience. And I think that's something that's really helped us with open rates, is once we made that split between employees and students, there was a lot more open rates for both sides, right? Because employees don't want to hear weird words that they don't even know about either. So that's definitely something that's helped us, is we want to communicate to everyone, but there's different ways to communicate the same message to different audiences.
That's awesome. Last question. What is the most important thing to consider when emailing Gen Z?
The most important thing to consider. One thing I would say is, I feel like Gen Z, and I could be completely wrong, but this is something that I've just seen, is Gen Z wants to be part of like a movement. Like, they want to feel like they're part of like a special exclusive thing. And tell me if I'm wrong, but like, you like feeling like you're part of like an exclusive group. And so like when you're emailing, you want to make them feel like they're special for being on your email list. Like, it's not just something that you're blasting out to anyone and everyone, but like, we are choosing to communicate with you because you are the type of customer that we value and that we want. And I think that using language, subject lines, images, visualization now with Gen Z is huge. You have to have compelling images. You have to have videos in your emails. So making it just visually appealing, but also like, this is an exclusive offer to you because you're amazing, I think is big.
Yeah, that's perfect. I can see that working on myself.
Exactly.
Well, thank you, Perry, for taking the time to share your expertise with us on Stratazine.
You're welcome, and stay in school.
I'm so glad I had the chance to talk with Perry. There's so much to learn from that conversation. Our tip and tool for this week is directly related to our topic. Itavi took the task of researching A/B testing for email.
For today's tips and tools, we'll be looking at A and B testing for emails. So what is an A/B test? Simple terms, an A/B test compares two versions of the same thing to see which one performs better. It's like comparing Granny Smith apples to Honeycrisp apples. They're both the same thing, but people like them differently and they look different. In email marketing, A and B testing can be used to research different things about your subscription list. You can compare if people like short or long emails, if they like their subject lines with lots of emojis, if they click different links. Let me show you the basic steps of how to organize and create an A/B test. First, we want to establish the goal of the test. Before we run this test, we need to figure out what is the purpose. Are we trying to get more website clicks, more sales? We want to have a quicker email open rate. We need to establish the purpose of our research so we can know what variable to use into test. Second, we need to pick a variable. In a science experiment, a variable is a part of the test that we can truly control, like the amounts of water and sunlight we give to a plant, how much food we're feeding to different livestock. This is the thing we can control to create our experiment. In email, our variables can be subject lines, preview, context, pictures, anything we can change about the design or the delivery of the email. Next, we want to test the variable in 2 or more versions. Once we pick this variable we want to test, the thing we can control, we want to make these emails as identical as possible except that variable we are trying to test. Then finally, we want to see the results of our experiment. The results can tell us a lot of things about our audience and tell us a lot of things about ourselves and how we are marketing our products to these people. Take a look at your analytics page to figure out what works best for your company, what works best for your email, and how to reach the audience you want to meet. Now that you know the basics of how to run an A/B test, feel free to try it to figure out what your audience engages with, what they'll like to get you the highest success to meet your goals.
Itavi is great. That was awesome. So now the moment that you've all been waiting for, the question of the day. How many emails does the average person get in a single day?
The answer is 121 emails a day.
That is a ridiculous amount. That's why I have a ton of unopened ones. But that is all on this episode of Stratazine. Coming up in our next episode, the topic will be personal branding.
Thanks for hanging out with us today on Stratazine and talking about Gen Z and email marketing.
You can find all the links and attributions from everything today in today's podcast in the credits and in the show notes. Have a great rest of your day.